All right. Can you guys hear us over on YouTube?
Yep, we're up.
We're up. All right. We're up on YouTube.
It says waiting for me. Hold
Let's
on,
give it a second. We got to get this right. We need everybody in here. We're gonna pause for a second, folks. Over on Rumble, over on X. Let me make sure that we're up on X too. Give me just a second.
Yep, we're up.
Oh, we're up. It's working.
All right, we're up. Apparently, we are up and live over on. Let me see. Are we? Yep, we're live on X. Looks like we're up on YouTube and Rumble. All right, folks, we're here. Is this the first show we've ever done where I'm still drinking my coffee? I think it might be.
We've done a couple of earlier shows with Lisa.
And Nom drinks coffee till he goes to bed.
No, I don't.
You go to bed?
I don't drink coffee. That's not coffee. That's ice water. In my coffee cup.
In a coffee mug?
Well, yeah, it's my Trump. It's my free Trump coffee cup.
I drink 1 cup of coffee. It's a big one, and I drink it until it's gone, and that's usually about 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
I don't drink coffee. I drink 5-hour energy drinks.
Oh, that's good for you.
Oh, that's super healthy.
Super healthy. So before we got started, somebody over on the Rumble channel, one of the first comments on the Rumble channel, I don't know if I can pronounce this. It's at GSCHA817 says, can we pull that comment in? Can we pull that in? I think we can. Yeah, this one said, please tell me SK had a few drinks. She needs them to talk over the twins.
You guys, it's 11 a.m. No, and I don't drink very often at all whatsoever. It's been rough the last, I had a death in the family. I told you guys that. So since the middle of November, it's been kind of rough over here. And so I have had alcohol a handful of times over the last month and a half, I guess. But no, I don't drink very often. And you guys just got a rare glimpse. Maybe I will on the Friday After Dark podcast, but I mean, it's not something that'll be super regular.
But here's the thing. I don't think we're going to need any alcohol today. I'm certainly not, because I don't drink. We're not going to need any alcohol today because we're all just a little bit spicy for a couple of different reasons. Nom's got his reasons. I was up until about 4 o'clock in the morning capturing information that we're going to talk about. And then I was woken up this morning at about 8:15 by a knock at the door from somebody who probably should not have been knocking on the door at 8:15 in the morning. So I'm on about 4 hours and 15 minutes of sleep. So I'm just a little bit saucy already. And then as we get,
hello, my name is Elder Price.
No,
knock on your door.
No, they were here to pick something up. They were here to pick something up. And it's like, why are you here at 8:15 in the morning? Anyway, so I'm already a little bit spicy. I'm already a little bit frosty, and you're going to see why. Folks, we have what I think is going to be a groundbreaking show for you today. This information is incredibly important, and this is the only reason why I would have interrupted the end of our vacation before we started 2026 on Monday. Matter of fact, we've done that twice already, haven't we? Didn't we do an interruption on Tuesday that I had to do? And now we got another one on Friday that I had to do. And I'm going to interrupt you again tonight with another podcast, because if you remember, we're going to be joining Paramount Tactical tonight at 8 p.m. to go over the same information, because our audiences need to see this. They need to understand that what you're seeing play out on social media right now, by and large, is not real. It's not real. It appears to be a very well organized effort to amplify, promote, and push narratives that are specifically designed to try to destroy the MAGA base, which is the only political force strong enough to be able to stop the ongoing color revolution. And what I think we have found is how they do it. And we're going to talk about it. We are going to talk about how they are using a very strategic digital warfare game, not necessarily to only push propaganda and conspiracy theories, but specifically to silence and destroy those who would dare to challenge or question the narrative. And I've got the receipts. So over the last couple of days, I had decided that I was going to do a little bit of analysis. Now, I'm not a statistician, and that's probably a good thing, because while statistics don't lie, statisticians often do. Yes. But I am pretty good with data, and I'm getting pretty good with AI also. So I started doing some analysis. I wanted to understand what I was seeing play out in the comment sections of very specific content that played out over the last couple of days. Just a little bit of background. So within the last week or so, the story that Candace Owens started to tell several weeks ago related to Fort Huachuca, including the guy named Harry Myers, who we now know is Mitch/Michael Snow. Yes, I know it's weird. He's got multiple names, and now we know why, because it appears as though he is a lifelong con man. Throughout the last several weeks, there has been an intentional effort to destroy people, literally destroy their reputations, possibly the careers, what looks to be maybe even the marriages and the lives of people who have already shown they had absolutely nothing to do with Fort Huachuca. Nothing at all. We were expected to take the word of a person that is reasonable to believe that is in fact a con man. It's pretty reasonable. And the problem is some of the most ardent supporters of the Candyland cult narrative started to get nervous, and they started to realize that this was not going to be the angle that was going to crack open the case. And in fact, it was going to cause major problems for the investigation that Candace Owens is allegedly trying to do. And they put some posts out and they started questioning. And what was happening in their comment section is a textbook example of how digital warfare is being used in this country right now to do two things: to distract you from the important topics that we need to be talking about. And we will be getting back to them. We are absolutely getting back to them. Did you know I woke up this morning and I saw that gas prices at the beginning of 2026 were 28 cents lower than they were at the beginning of 2025? And in some places in the Midwest, gas prices are less than $2. $2.
I paid $2.13 down here earlier this week, or I think it was Tuesday, $2.13.
I think I paid
Pretty
like
good.
$2.20 something the other day when I was on my way home from the ARC experience.
I have no
Well,
idea
let
how
me
much
rephrase that.
gas is.
Unleaded is $2.13. My truck takes premium, so I don't get to pay that. But
I
That's
don't
the
have
you get the
a-
point.
That is the
But-
stuff that we're going to be talking about. Did you? Sorry, SK. I don't mean to
Can
interrupt you.
I interrupt real quick?
Yeah.
I tried to post, I tried to type in the comments and ask if somebody could please post this link in Discord and tag at everyone in the Discord so that everyone knows that we're live, since it's not our normal time. But also, if you are in YouTube, Rumble, wherever you are, please make sure you hit the like button. And if you're in YouTube, you have to like hit the X button and X out of the live chat and hit the actual thumbs up button and then come back to the chat. And if everybody can do that, I would greatly appreciate it.
Look at her doing the promotion thing. We need to get better at that. That's your job now, SK. You are the
I
formal
suck at
promoter.
it. I suck
You
at it.
just
The
did
only
it.
reason I
You did
know is
great.
because I was trying to type and it does the predictive texting and I'm trying to look at the screen and type. You know, I can't multitask. And it didn't say what I needed it to say. So I just had to say it out loud.
Well, now you're the promoter. You have been assigned that responsibility every show to promote. I totally lost my train of thought. Oh, did you know, America, that third quarter GDP numbers came in just a couple weeks ago? Did you know that?
4.7%.
Almost 5% GDP growth in the third quarter, on top of 4+% in the second quarter, on top of 4+% in the first quarter. What do you think the fourth quarter is going to look like? I thought we were heading in the direction of a recession, and yet we have almost 5% GDP growth going on right now. Like, these are the things that we want to be talking about, and we will. The problem is there appears to be a very organized effort to make sure that you can't talk about this.
And there's also a very organized effort to make sure that people do not know that a enormous percentage of the Somalian GDP, a percentage of their GDP was their debt, a huge percentage. And it was all paid off by the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, all paid off and forgiven. They don't want you to know that either. So while we're talking about our GDP and our debt, why don't you just keep in the back of your mind that Somalia had theirs forgiven?
Of course they did. And they've got a whole bunch of money flowing back into that country of ours. That was
well, not just into Somalia, because we know that Al-Shabaab takes their cut.
Yeah.
Al-Shabaab is an offshoot of Al-Qaeda, which you all know. So the Minnesota taxpayer, frankly, the U.S. taxpayer is basically funding Al-Shabaab. So,
Hey, question
thank you.
for SK and Nom and those in the audience. What percentage of our GDP do you think, what percentage of our national debt do you think has been stolen from us?
If I were guessing, I'd say it's north of 80%.
Yeah, it's a lot. And also, let's just talk about GDP for 1 second. This is something I've debated on TikTok a lot when people want to bring up the economy. And, during the 2024 election, they were talking about how great the economy was under Biden. And they were saying that during Trump's term, they were giving Obama credit for Trump's economy. And then, Biden's economy was amazing. And that was all Biden. And then Trump takes office, and like 5 seconds later, the economy is his fault and it's terrible. And it's like, wait a minute, how do these people even how do they reconcile all of this in their brain? But can we talk about GDP and the fact that one of the factors into GDP is government spending? Why are we going to allow, people like Biden to hire all these federal employees and spend all this money and give all these contracts and spend billions and billions of dollars on green energy and all of this stuff, and then pretend like our GDP is so great when it's just printing money and spending it in the United States to make the GDP look better? I think we need to reevaluate how we measure our economy, but I'm not an economist. That's more your deal, PatriotDad, but I don't like the fact that government spending is factored into GDP.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get into an academic conversation on this, but it should be factored into GDP because it does, in fact, impact the economy one way or the other, whether it's negative, whether it's a wash, whatever. The problem is what we should be doing is we should be talking about things like a Government Accountability Office report that came out back in February. One report showed that upwards of $13 trillion has been stolen from the American people, with almost $3 trillion going overseas in improper payments. The IRS was just sending money to people in foreign countries without any audit trail, without any documentation, sending $3 trillion to people that aren't even in this country. And it also showed in that same report that upwards of $500 billion every single year goes missing due to waste, fraud, and abuse. $13 trillion in one report since 2003. Money's gone missing. That is 36% of our entire debt is money that in one report we can show has been stolen from the American people. And I guarantee you it is significantly higher than that. We should be talking about that.
Yeah.
That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about the fact that since Donald Trump took office, 100% of job creation has gone to the private sector. We should be talking about, since Donald Trump took office again, not one single job has gone cumulatively to foreign-born workers. 100% of job creation has gone to native-born workers and in the private sector. That is what we should be talking about. And yet we have what appears to be an organized effort, a digital warfare strategy playing out in social media right now that is designed specifically to keep you from talking about it and to destroy people who dare to question their conspiracy theories. So I started doing a deep dive and I got all the data and we're going to talk about it. So you guys have all heard the term trolls. You've heard the term bot accounts. You've heard the term, maybe you haven't, but have you ever heard the term of sock accounts?
Sock puppets. Yes.
Sock puppets. So we
like
tend...
you, PatriotDad, because you were accused of that.
Oh, I know. I was accused of that. And we'll talk about that. I got some really cool receipts that we're going to talk about. We tend to get those terms confused. And first, I want to make sure that we are accurately defining these terms because they're very important to understand. We tend to get bot accounts and troll accounts or sock puppet accounts confused. So what is a bot account? A bot account is an automated online account run by software or scripts, which is designed to perform repetitive tasks at scale. They do things like posting, liking, spamming with little or no direct human involvement. Bot farms can be used to drive engagement. And in fact, it's been reported that as much as 70% of the recent popularity of high-profile influencers like Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens are being amplified by bots liking and sharing their content. Amplified, meaning it is helping to spread their content wider. There are allegations that platforms like YouTube are in fact helping that, are helping to promote and push this content out into the public. So what is a sock account? A sock puppet account, or in layman's terms, a troll account, but I'm going to use the term sock puppet accounts because it's important. A sock puppet account is an online identity manually created and operated by a real person to deceive others, often to artificially support their own views or to troll and manipulate discussions while hiding their true identity. And it's important to distinguish the difference here, because when you're in comment section and you're engaging in these really important conversations and you refer to something as a bot account and then they comment back to you and it's obvious that it's a person, you've essentially lost any credibility in calling out what they're saying by referring to them as a bot, because they're not. They are, in fact, a sock puppet account. Often organized, these efforts originate out of platforms like Discord or Reddit, where you can have groups of real people who will coordinate attacks on individuals and on trending topics. Go ahead, SK.
Okay. Remember back in January 2020, last year, there was some stuff that went down, and you asked me to look into some stuff about the organized attack.
Oh, you mean when I was doxxed?
Yes, I just didn't want to say that, but yes. So when that happened and I started researching that, I found all of the grants to a lot of the disinformation things. I found all the information about disinformation. I found all of the Centers for Countering Digital Hate, found all of that stuff. I found the program at Arizona State through the McCain Center, or McCain, whatever.
McCain
it's named
Institute.
after, it's named after John McCain. I couldn't remember what the last word was. But I found all of those grants. I found grant applications, and a lot of these grants that were awarded, even though I don't know that I could find one that was directly given to Center for Countering Digital Hate, which is out of the UK, by the way. They have an office in London, and they have an office in the US. Yeah, right. And we can get into more of that later. But a lot of these programs that were given grants for this disinformation campaign and for countering all the anti-LGBTQ and the hate stuff, this is all tied again to the ADL, the SPLC, the United We Stand Summit, the policy that was pushed to Susan Rice. It's all tied together. But just so you're aware, your tax dollars went to these organizations, and part of that was these organized efforts. They have Discord groups. We infiltrated a couple of them, which is how the doxing took place, because they got pissed that we infiltrated and were exposing the whole cute winter boots thing. That's how that all started. But there are organized efforts. There are entire Discord servers. There's college students, high school students. They're all involved in this, and they go in and they will put a creator. I don't even like that word. Or influencer. I really don't like that word. But they will put someone's account and they will tell them, and it's an organized attack. I lost my X account for over a month after that all happened. Mine was a different reason. I was calling out some politicians that are Republicans, and they didn't like it because they were getting ratioed by a tiny account, because it was very tiny then. I had to get an attorney to get my account back. People were like, why didn't you just start a new one? Because it's principle. It's principle for me. I didn't do anything wrong. And it looked like to get banned from X, you have to permanently banned. You have to do something really bad. People have made death threats against people and don't get permanently banned. I got permanently banned, and all I was doing was calling out politicians, and they didn't like it. Yep. So just so you know, your taxpayer dollars are going to pay for this organized effort that takes place. And it's happening right now. I get suppressed when people don't like this diligent, whatever the word is that would be the antonym to diligent. Sloppy. Is what that guy is.
Sloppy.
And if he's doing the investigation into Charlie Kirk's assassination, we should probably just go to the zoo. The zoo animals could do a much better job than that guy, because he's an actual moron.
We're back on the zoo animals. I love it.
He's an actual moron. I mean, he was accusing PatriotDad of being a foreign bot account. And
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
like,
we're-
dude, they didn't even take the time to click on any of the tagged accounts on any of these posts. You go to the Patriot Source Podcast X account, the pinned post is literally his house on fire in November. But
That's right.
he's in Brazil, you guys.
Yeah.
He's a bot from Brazil.
Yeah, that's right. But see, here's the thing, and I don't know if you caught this because SK just dropped so much important information there. But when these people go into these Discord servers, these accounts, and they organize these efforts, they've been infiltrated. Like, people have seen what they're doing. And what we know is that one person, one real person, in many cases has up to hundreds of sock puppet accounts, hundreds of them. So understand the impact on social media, on the national conversation, on the narrative. You could have a group of 10 or 15 people controlling hundreds of accounts, and they can entirely shift the conversation that the country is having simply in one Discord server. And they do. And they're doing it right now. So Candace Owens seems to be the current topic. And some of the stuff that played out over the last couple of days gave me the perfect opportunity to do a little bit of analysis. But before we get into that, I think it's important, and I'm looking for Nom and SK to weigh in here. We first have to understand why they're doing this. Why is there an organized digital warfare strategy at play right now in this country to distract you, to dissuade you, to discourage you, and ultimately to get you to either sit down and shut up or leave the MAGA movement entirely? What is the purpose of the color revolution? What you're seeing right now is the color revolution. It is just a different offshoot of it. SK is going to lay out a case, and she's been doing it. We've all been doing it for weeks about the full scope of the network of the NGOs and the funding and the foreign intelligence agencies and the people who've been involved in a color revolution in this country since the day that Donald Trump went down the golden escalator back in 2015. We've been mapping it. We have it all. This is just another example of it. The color revolution, as it exists today, has multiple purposes. The first is to slow down the Trump agenda, to slow them down. They're doing that right now through lawfare campaigns. You've got people like Mark Elias. You remember Mark Elias? Who's Mark Elias? We were introduced to Mark Elias years ago when we saw the Russian collusion hoax. But Mark Elias really demonstrated his true bona fides and effectiveness in the color revolution with the Project 2025 hoax. Do you guys remember that? Project 2025?
Yes, but before that, Mark Elias, you have to remember, Mark Elias is one of the leading election attorneys on the left for the DNC. So just about every single election law, actually, most of the states didn't pass new laws. They actually just ignored existing laws. Mark Elias was the one who was leading that push during 2020 election and the run up to the 2020 election to create the situation that we saw happen in the 2020 election. It was Mark Elias.
Real quick, Mark Elias is the go-to disinformation guy for the DNC. He's the guy that was paid to get the Steele dossier. He is the guy that did all the lawfare, has done all the lawfare. He's democracy forward. He's democracy docket. He's the one filing a lot of these lawsuits that have been filed against the Trump administration this time, but also last time. He's a part of that whole network of people, Norm Eisen.
Who should be in prison?
There's a whole list. We've done entire podcasts in the very beginning when we first started this podcast back in September. Several of our podcasts were very heavily focused on Mark Elias and that whole network, the David Brock, the Reid Hoffman, all of those things. He also was the bookkeeper for the Black Lives Matter Global Network Fund. He also filed lawsuits in Georgia with Stacey Abrams and the New Georgia Project. And remember, Stacey Abrams is paying the largest election fine in Georgia history of $300,000 for funneling campaign funds through her nonprofits, including New Georgia Project and Fair Vote, Fair Count, Fair, whatever it's called. She has several. She's also part of that whole group with Citibank where the $1 billion, except it's more like 20-something billion when you look at it, was deposited right before Biden left office for the green energy stuff. She's a part of all of that. Power Forward Communities is what it's called, that was started. And then all of the blue district, all of the usual suspect blue Congress people, their districts were the ones that were benefiting from that green energy stuff, where they were going around and like to low income areas and like changing out light bulbs into more energy efficient light bulbs. I mean, like bullshit stuff that this money was given for. So keep that in mind. This guy, he's involved in a lot of stuff, just like Crew. He's very on par with Crew, Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, the NOAA bookbinder hired by Alejandro Mayorkas to be on the board of advisors for the Department of Homeland Security. And then Crew financed and litigated the effort in Colorado to take Trump off the ballot. I mean, these are the conflicts of interest and the unethical things that were taking place under the Biden administration. And Mark Elias has been involved for decades.
That's right. He's also the one that created the Project 2025 hoax. We won't get into that,
the People's Guide to Project
about
2025,
right.
which is where
right.
everyone got their information about Project 2025. And
It
that
was
was
a
one of the
complete lie.
funnest, most fun 2 weeks on TikTok, was debunking that, putting up a background. Tell me what you think is so bad about Project 2025, pulling up actual Project 2025, and then debunking everything they said, because none of it's in there. None of it.
Right. That's right. They just made it up. And that's what they do. They just made it up. So you've got the lawfare angle of the color revolution, which is designed specifically to slow the Trump administration down, and in many cases try to stop it entirely while they wait him out. And now it seems like there's some people in the Republican side of the Senate and the House that are actively engaged in that effort as well. You've got Norm Eisen, who is going on podcast and news shows almost daily at this point, smiling and laughing, gleefully celebrating how effective his organizations have been at filing lawsuits every step of the way. That's a color revolution. It is using the judicial system to overturn the will of the American people. It's a color revolution. Second, the color revolution, as it exists today, is designed specifically to splinter and neuter the MAGA base. The most effective, the most diverse political organization probably in American history. What Donald Trump was able to do with the MAGA base is he was able to bring in new young voters, new African-American voters, minority voters. He increased his share in women voters. The MAGA movement was the most powerful political effort in the world, and that would not have been possible without Charlie Kirk.
Yep.
Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA was the most important organization probably in American history, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And they had to remove them. And they did. The question is, who is they? Well, we know who they is. We've mapped who they is. And what you're seeing play out on social media seems to be an intentional effort to not focus on they, to get you to focus on things like Cabot Phillips. Who the hell is that? I have no idea who Cabot Phillips is, nor did I care until I saw a bunch of influencers on X literally trying to destroy this man's life for no reason.
And
tried to destroy him.
And the fact that he came out and publicly gave information, personal information that he didn't have to give in order to try to get these people to stop. And then people like not diligent Denizen are trying to debunk it, saying that things were altered, because of the timestamp on the photo and the timestamp on the purchase at the store. The guy was walking into, there is video of him at the doctor's office walking in for a ultrasound for his pregnant wife, and and then at the grocery store purchasing balloons and stuff for a gender reveal for his children. And he gave those photos, personal photos, to the internet to try to clear himself so people will quit smearing him on the internet. And what do these people do? They changed the metadata. They changed the metadata. This is the same guy that's doing such a great investigation. He thinks PatriotDad is an account in Brazil.
They didn't care. This is what the color revolution is designed to do. They don't care who they destroy as long as you don't focus on what it is that you're supposed to focus on. But you see, the color revolution has evolved significantly over just this year. It started with what they thought was going to be effective. They thought they were going to be able to use their old tactics of getting a bunch of people into the streets. It started with the Tesla takedowns, then it moved to the No Kings protest. Throughout the entire summer, they had organized, in many cases, AstroTurf bought and paid for protesters show up all over the country so that they could splash photographs and videos all over the internet and all over media saying that, look, this is the biggest protest in the history of the world. And the problem is they lied. And more importantly, they didn't get the right people out there.
Nope, they couldn't get BLM in the streets again. They have not been successful in getting BLM back in the streets yet.
Exactly. And I put in the comments a few minutes ago for people to go look up the playbooks, the Democracy 2025 playbooks. There's more than one. But also, one of the things that they do is narrative warfare, and that's exactly what he's talking about. They push. I infiltrated. I sat through planning meetings. I sat through organization meetings. I sat through, I was in all of the Discord, still am, a lot of the chat groups for the protesters and the things that they say and the things that they push and the things that they tell these people. And one of the things they talk about all the time is narrative warfare. They tell people ahead of the protest exactly what shots they need, exactly what photos they need, the information they need, because then that's what they play on a loop on mainstream media. They put it all over the internet and they push it to make people believe that this is what the majority of people think. This is what they did in 2020 with George Floyd, and all the same actors, all the same NGOs, even if they change their name and start a new one, it's all the same people behind the NGOs. It's all the same thing. The 2020 stuff that happened with all of the Summer of Love, that was part of the color revolution as well.
Right.
This has been going on for decades, starting with the federal plan and even before. Decades and decades and decades, this has been going on. And it's just continuing, and it's getting worse. And the problem now is, even though we've told you from the day that it came out, I found the blog on September 16th. September 16th, these people told you that their effort failed when they were celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. It made them look so bad, and everyone in this country was turning against them. They came out and said, we have to change our tactic. We're pivoting to dividing the right by using Israel. And they said that out loud. They made it clear that was their plan. They told all of their people that was their plan. They posted it all over the place. They talked about it publicly. That was their plan. And look at the MAGA people like, again, antonym to diligent, falling for this. You have Candace Owens falling for this. Candace Owens, I don't know if it's willful. I don't know if it's intentional. I don't know if it's paid. I don't know. And I'm not going to make those accusations because I'm responsible. But I will say, whatever tips are ending up in her box, or the people that her in-laws are affiliated with, whatever the situation is, Candace Owens is being misled. She gets close to the truth, and then again, she does the hard 90-degree angle to it's the Jews and Israel, because that's exactly what Antifa wanted. So whether this antonym of diligent and Candace Owens and all of their little Cantifa Candyland puppets are willingly or unwillingly falling into this, they are in fact involved with Antifa, whether they know it or not, because they are following through with Antifa's plan. You guys have to wake up and understand that creating all of this nonsense and division on the right during 2026, it's now January 2026. We are going into midterms. This is when it's going to start getting real serious. And they are doing this and causing these problems on the right instead of us uniting and getting behind and making sure we primary the idiots in Congress that are on the right that need to get the hell out, or what it is that we need to be focusing on, codifying Trump's executive orders, getting shit done. Instead of us focusing on that, we're being divided by Israel, and the people that don't agree with the stuff that Candace Owens is saying is being paid $7,000 per post. Where's my $7,000?
Shit.
Where's
Can I get
it at?
$7,000?
None of us are being paid. The last 2 pay cycles on X, I didn't even get paid because I've had a death in the family and I haven't been as active or posting or anything.
Right.
I haven't been creating content on TikTok. I haven't been live on TikTok. I've gotten $0 at all since November.
That's right.
But yet we're paid shills.
Yep, that's right. So the protest failed because they couldn't get people out into the streets, and it was an utter disaster for them. But it was more than that. We saw attacks on ICE facilities. We saw riots in the streets in LA and Chicago and Portland. This is all part of the color revolution. It's all designed to destabilize society. But at the same time, that they were shifting and morphing and trying and poking and prodding to figure out what was working and what wasn't working, they were also organizing online. Because here's the thing. The one things that the Democrats and the left learned out of the last couple of election cycles is that we are better at this than they are. We're better at digital warfare because we're funny and because we're smart and because we're good researchers and because we're really, really good at connecting dots. They know they can't do that because their influencers are not personable. Their influencers are not people that you want to follow because they regularly get called lying. They regularly get caught pushing propaganda. And honestly, they're not funny people. Who wants to sit and watch somebody who can't make you laugh? They're not good at it. So they decided that they were going to go covert.
Yeah.
And they started creating these armies of digital warriors that were operating in the shadows as sock puppets. Again, one person can control hundreds of sock puppet accounts. Here's the thing. Why is it important for the Color Revolution to do what they're doing right now to attack Turning Point USA? Anyone? Nom, why is it important for them to take out Turning Point USA?
Get out the vote for midterms.
It's obvious.
And remember, Candace Owens came out and said directly with her own mouth, I don't remember word for word exactly what she said, but she said she didn't care about midterms. You guys are listening to someone who doesn't even care. We are doing this without being paid because we care. And you guys are listening to and following the narrative and smearing, dragging people, ruining people's reputations from your side of the aisle because some girl that doesn't even care about midterms is telling you what to think. These people are the worst investigators I've ever seen in my entire life, and you guys are trusting what they are saying. It is ridiculous.
That's right. That's right. So now we're going to show you how they do it. So we are 38 minutes in. I think we have set the scenario for you. And now I'm going to show you exactly how they do it. And I'm going to show you what it looks like in practice. So what I decided to do, given the blow up of the Mitch Snow, Harry Myers, Michael Snow, whatever the hell the con man's name actually is that we saw take place on X. I mean, literally the entire con collapsed. Not only that, but I think some questions need to be answered about why that guy was given a $150,000 GoFundMe campaign based on a con job. Maybe someone else can ask that question. I decided that I was going to go dive into the comments section because one post that I put out on X was the perfect platform to do this experiment. I put a post out asking why Candace Owens was ignoring the evidence that SK, Lisa Logan, Data Republican, and the Patriot Source podcast has placed in her hands, and she's ignored it. Nom, can you play video one for us?
Yep.
Here's the video I put out. We probably don't need to listen to the whole thing, but we'll just intro the video that I created that started this. Go ahead.
You know, one of the reasons why I've been so strong in my opposition to what I believe is the foreign intel driven operation that Candace Owens and the Candyland cult have been leading, it's because she knows the truth. As a matter of fact, I know that she's been given actual information on the networks and the people that are behind the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And how do I know? Well, because the people who have been researching this deeply from the day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated, a core group of dedicated research experts in this industry told us that they provided information to Candace and her team, and she's ignored it. Not only has she ignored it, but she has intentionally distracted her audience from hearing this. So you guys know that have been following the Patriot Source podcast that we have been deeply researching the networks associated with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, starting with Armed Queers SLC, looking at the John Brown Gun Club. And then we started bringing on special guests like Lisa Logan and Data Republican and the team of Lisa Data Republican, and SK, the networks that they have been investigating going all the way up to the United Nations, to the UK, foreign intelligence agencies, and yes, even Utah Valley University, and the brand new.
All right, you get the point. This is a video I released, I don't know, a couple days ago. And what happened in the comments of that video is what we're going to explore over the next couple of minutes. I decided to allow Grok to help me with this. So I went into Grok and I asked a question. Grok, can you help me understand what portion of the comment section here is based on bot accounts or any other type of what appears to be possibly manufactured accounts? And what Grok spit out for me was this. After analyzing all of the comments, there was a very clear amount of scripted comments that showed up in my video, and they all seem to have the very same exact language. It was aggressive defense of Candace Owens, aggressive defense of Mitch Snow, accusations that I am a shill for Israel, that I've been paid $7,000, that I was clout chasing. I did see a little bit of a spike in my follower count, and as I went through it, most of those were accounts that I now know are sock puppets. They followed me so they could track me and they could continue to jump into the comment section. And I asked Grok, can you tell me what percentage of the comments here are originated from sock puppets? Remember, sock puppet accounts are individuals who are hiding so that you can't see who they are. And in many cases are explicitly targeting content for a purpose. 60% of all the comments came from sock puppets. 95% of the negative comments in my video came from those 60%. 60% of the comments were designed to challenge the idea that there's additional information out there that Candace Owens and her conspiracy theorists are ignoring. So then I decided to expand it a little bit because I wasn't the only one who was posting about this. A couple of other people were as well. And the time frame that I looked at was between December 28th and December 31st, because that 3-day period seems to be when most of this stuff was really blowing up. I looked at posts from Candace over that 3-day period because there is this general belief that Candace Owens is seeing her content be amplified by bot accounts and by sock accounts. And what I saw was actually fascinating. Only 20% of the content that she's released on X between the 28th and the 31st are exhibiting any indicators of sock puppet involvement. Candace's engagement on X over that period of time is actually pretty organic. Only 20%. I was not expecting that. I was expecting to see amplification of her perspective in her comment section by sock accounts, sock puppets. And that's not what I saw. Only 20%. However, it does appear, and there are reports, that the amplification is coming from bot accounts through likes and shares and things like that. I can't prove that, so I'm not even going to spend a lot of time on it. But here's what's really interesting. The strategy to use sock puppet accounts and artificial engagement is not, at least from what I'm seeing, designed to amplify the conspiracies. It's designed to silence people who question the conspiracies, to divide people who would question or who would support, not to lift up, but to divide. So I decided to look at a few other content creators. And for those of you guys that are following along with this on X, you know who these people are. So a couple of days ago, one of the biggest supporters of the Candace Owens conspiracy Candyland cult narrative is an account by the name of Evan Kilgore. You guys probably know him. I've engaged with him just a little bit as I questioned some of the things he was saying over the last several weeks. As he was watching the story of Mitch Snow, Harry Myers, Michael Snow, whatever the hell the con man's name actually is, he put a post out, a post in which he effectively said, I can't continue to follow down this path with Candace. because he was doing his own research and he was getting phone calls and messages and conversations with victims, actual victims of Mitch Snow. And he put this post out. This post saw 1.4 million views as of about 2 days ago. It had 2.5 thousand comments of about two days ago. And as you go through the comments on the post, what's pretty interesting is that there's actually a lot of organic engagement in there from people like me who jumped in and said, hey, dude, glad that you're finally seeing the light, but realize that you were part of the problem for a long time. But that's okay, because sometimes it takes people waking up before they realize that they're being manipulated. But what else was interesting is that the exact same scripted comments were showing up in his comment section. Aggressive defense of Candace Owens, aggressive defense of Mitch Snow. He was called a shill. He said they were saying he got the call. He was being paid off $7,000 from Israel. And exactly the same percentage, 60% of the comments were from sock puppet accounts. 60%. So what's the purpose of a sock puppet account? Digital attack like this. It's to ratio. It's to get people to think when they see the comment section that you shouldn't agree with him because everybody else in the comments disagrees with him. It's a manipulation tactic to try to get you to question what you think if you agree with what the poster is saying. 60% of the negative comments in that post were from sock puppet accounts. But I went a little bit further because there's a couple of other creators out there who were doing the same thing. A YouTuber who has a pretty big following on YouTube and has a ton of credibility when it comes to things like ballistics and looking at whether or not a 30-06 round can in fact stay lodged inside of a body, which we already know to be true because SK showed us the evidence when her 12-year-old shot a deer with a 30-06 from 30 yards away and it remained in the body. She showed you the evidence of it. She literally showed you the round that was extracted from the deer's neck from 30 yards away in a 30-06.
Oh, if I get time today, I can go pick that up because it was taken to the framer to be put in a frame with the picture. The actual round was, and I think it was due to be picked up today. So if I can get that before tonight, I can show it on Paramount Tactical's.
Let's do it.
Yeah. I'll have to put like a sticky note over his face, but.
So this comment here says, now that we know the players, what exactly is the ultimate goal of this color revolution outside the obvious? We're going to get to that. I don't want to spend a ton of time on it here today. We'll get to it here in a little bit. So I decided to go in and look at Paramount Tactical's content. Paramount Tactical is one of the first YouTubers who actually platformed some of the victims of Mitch Snow. Now, understand that Mitch Snow has several active protection orders against him right now. So Paramount Tactical invited some of those victims onto his show to challenge the credibility of Mitch Snow. Because if you remember, this guy who said he was at Fort Huachuca, apparently he was, also went on to accuse very specific people of being either there the day before or exiting a meeting and alleging that it was a assassination planning meeting, where he said that he saw the head of Turning Point USA walking out of a meeting with 12 to 14 lieutenant colonel level representatives of the military. And the night before said he saw Erica Kirk and Cabot Phillips at a hotel right outside of Fort Huachuca. He also alleged that there was an Arizona congressman there as well. And all of those have fallen apart. A lot of it because of the work that people like Paramount Tactical did. And I saw the exact same thing happen to Paramount Tactical in the comment sections of his content on X. The exact same scripts, aggressive defense of Candace Owens and Mitch Snow, accusations of being a shill, almost word for word. Clout chasing, word for word. Getting the call, word for word. Being paid $7,000 from Israel, word for word. The same scripts. And I asked Grok, what percentage of the comments in Paramount Tactical's content on X between 1228 and 1231 is from sock puppet accounts? 60%.
There you go. And can I ask a question? This might be stupid, but where is everybody getting this $7,000 number from?
They just made it up.
They just made it up. This just
made it
made up because I was accused of being paid by Israel
They just made it up.
immediately after that. We exposed the Ermia Finian stuff, and just for the record, not a single one of us are here for clout or any of those things because we find extremely relevant information that no one else has found and keep it to ourselves for a very long time. And when I was terrified. If you go back and find the podcast where I found the information about Ermia Finian, I had known since the morning about that. I had told them. We decided to keep it a secret for a while because I was terrified. Like there were ties to the State Department. I was scared. And I reached out to Data Republican, and that's how that went down. She said, "Do you want to make it a thread and have me post it? How do you want to do this?" And I'm like, you don't even have to credit me. Like, I'm perfectly okay with nobody knowing I found this because I was scared. She did credit me, which I appreciate now. But I was terrified. You can tell by my behavior and how I was on that podcast because it happened as we were going live.
That's
She
right.
was posting it on X.
That's
Not
right.
a single one of us are here for clout or clicks or likes or any of that. We do this because we love this country. We care about this country and we care about the truth. And if we're wrong, we will come out and say, look, I thought that this was accurate, but I was wrong, or I misquoted this, or I misstated this. We are all humble people. We are not above correcting ourselves. And that's what needs to happen with these people that are attacking good people on the internet, which is why I got so pissed. The person accusing him of committing insurance fraud before we went live last time. And last night, I stayed up all night, immediately commenting the second I saw a post or a comment from PatriotDad or that antonym of diligent dude. They need to come out and they need to correct the record. These sock accounts, these actual accounts that are allowing these sock accounts to follow them around and act like they're simping for them, these people need to come out and they need to correct the record because it's wrong. It is wrong to ruin people's reputation and accuse them of things that are not true and
That's
then
right.
block us and then be such a pussy that dude blocked all of us. All of us.
Yeah.
You are an actual coward. If you think that you know what you're talking about, come out with it. Oh, and then I saw posts from him saying he's going to come out with this whole list of people, but he's going to be really careful and make sure that he doesn't put anyone out that hasn't already been doxxed. I'll tell you right now, if you are so stupid to do your investigation the way you did on PatriotDad, you're going to be you are going to mess up and you're going to dox somebody that hasn't been doxed. And I can tell you right now, if I'm the one that gets doxed, it's going to be bad for everybody because I have attorneys on retainer and I will completely fuck your life.
Amen.
So I challenge you to go and do your research, and you need to correct the record, and you need to come out and you need to say PatriotDad had nothing to do with that gives and go. I don't know what older millennials situation was with that gives and go. After I started thinking about it, I remembered a post that he made with a gives and go talking about wanting to start a campus tour and for him to go on campus tours. He is a big creator. I'm not saying what he did was right. I'm not saying it's wrong because I don't know all the circumstances, and I'm not going to drag someone, especially someone who, even though has been embroiled in controversy, gave me more advice and helped me. He never had to take 2 seconds of his time. He came on my live panels. I went on his. He had me on his StreamYard. I didn't even know how this worked. I was sitting eating my dinner while I was talking to OM the first time on StreamYard. I had no idea how this worked. I didn't know there were like 5,000 people watching and I'm just chilling, having a conversation, eating my dinner. I had no idea. He helped me so much. He is a good person. I don't know. I know he's been embroiled in controversy. I don't know what this gives and go is about. I don't know the details. I'm not saying I support it. I'm not saying I don't because I don't know. I can't come to that conclusion right now. But what I can tell you
I had
is
nothing to do with
that guy, I don't know where he is on your screen. On mine, he's over here. PatriotDad was not at all involved in that Gifts and Go. The only Gifts and Go that I know of that PatriotDad's involved in is the one that was started after his house burned down in November. And that's because Nom and I urged him. He didn't want to do it. We were going to do it. Nom and I talked and we were going to do it. And PatriotDad finally said, you know what? You're right. I'll do it. But I'm going to set it up in my name and I'm going to do it because Nom and I haven't been doxxed. PatriotDad has, and he wanted to protect us. So if you have a problem with PatriotDad starting his own Gifts and Go at the urging of his twin brother and myself, because he's one of the most honest, best guys. We held prayer lives for weeks at a time before the election. We were on TikTok every single day in 2024, and we found each other. PatriotDad and I found each other. We investigated the Katie Johnson stuff, exposed all that. We exposed the Mark Elias, the People's Guide to Project 2025. We did lots of that stuff together. We've been working together for a long time, which again is just further proof that none of us here need credit for research and things that are done. I send research to people every single day that they use and post and get hundreds of thousands or millions of views on their things. And not a single person knows that I was responsible for that information because I don't care. I care about this country.
That's right. That's right.
Diligent, whatever your username is on X, you better come out with an apology because you're such a chicken shit. You had to block us after you realized you were an absolute fucking idiot.
Amen. All right. So, wow. That. I told you we were going to get a spicy SK without drinking today. Look, folks,
no, we're
angry. Fired up, and I'm going to show you exactly why we're fired up. And we are going to ask for accountability on this. But before we do that, you see, if all I did was ask Grok to analyze whether or not there were comments in a comment section that had indicators of being manufactured or sock puppet engagement, that would be one thing. But the question then becomes, well, how do you know that those are in fact sock puppet accounts? So I went a little bit deeper. Now, granted, I was just looking at a sample of about 3 days. Over this 3-day period of time that Grok helped me to analyze through AI, we were able to find hundreds of these sock puppet accounts. And I asked Grok to help me dive in deeper to understand what their behavior is. Because it's one thing if you're a small anonymous account on X and you just like to go in the comments. That's perfectly acceptable. Actually, that's what the platform is for. Perfectly okay. But I decided to go a little bit deeper, and I asked Grok to analyze the actual behavior. And what was really interesting is Grok was only spitting out small chunks of accounts. I asked Grok to spit out a CSV file for me. I wanted account IDs. I wanted to know the age of the account. And I wanted to know a couple of other things like cross-function posting, meaning cross-topic posting. Are they posting on other topics, or are their posts specific to Candace Owens related topics? By the time I got to 65 accounts, again, over a 3-day period, 74 of those accounts had been open within the last 120 days.
74%.
74% of those accounts had been open within the last 120 days. These are brand new accounts that exist specifically over the last 120 days. 22% of them had zero cross-topic comments at all. They existed explicitly for attacking content creators who are questioning the Candyland cult narrative. 22%. That's all they do. The other 78% had an average of 85% of all of their engagement focused on the post of that 3-day period. They were activated specifically over that 3-day period. 85% of their posts were in that 3-day period on those posts that I talked about. So I asked Grok to expand the data set because I wanted to add more. I wanted to see more. By the time that Grok got up to 140 distinct accounts, it was taking longer and longer and longer and longer to populate the CSV file. After about a half an hour, not getting any results, I just asked Grok the question, are you stuck? And this
context
is what
window.
And this is what Grok told me. And I quote, providing hundreds of rows in plain text CSV blocks becomes unwieldy in chat. Beyond approximately 100, the additional accounts add diminishing new insights. They follow nearly identical patterns, 100% or near 100% Owens focused in the period with nearly zero cross-topic engagement. So as we tried to expand the data set, Grok basically said, there's no need, because what you're seeing in the first 65 is exactly what you're seeing in the rest of the data. It produced diminishing new insights with nearly 100% of the comments coming from these accounts were focused explicitly on attacking content creators and topics and posts that were questioning Candace Owens' conspiracies over that 3-day period of time. These accounts exist solely for the purpose of silencing people who are questioning her. Now, I am in no way suggesting that Candace Owens is aware of this, is engaged in it, knows that it's happening. As a matter of fact, she's actually made comments on her podcast that she feels like she's a victim of this. And it's very possible that she is, because here's the thing. Both sides do it. Both sides use digital warfare. We know that foreign intelligence in foreign countries have decided that the best way to destroy the United States is through division, and they use digital warfare to do it. We know that Russia does it. We know that China does it. We know that Iran does it. We know that foreign intelligence agencies like MI6 and Mossad, they all do it. And they don't even need the participation of the content creators to do it. Instead, they can use bot farms, or they can have willing accomplices who agree with their perspective do it for them through sock puppet accounts. But folks, it's not just sock puppet accounts. I'm convinced at this point that there are some larger accounts involved too. There's some big accounts out there that I believe actually know that they are intentionally trying to sow discord in the MAGA movement, who are pretending to care about Charlie Kirk, about Turning Point USA, say that they are honestly seeking answers, and instead, I believe they have very different motives.
Yes. And I'm trying to look really quick and see if I can find where my genius friend, at this point, she's not even a friend, she's family, Lisa Logan, looked into one of these accounts that has been simping for Candace, and now has this giant like screen and you know, puts people's tweets up, and you know, goes through things on these little videos on X. Ryan Matta, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
She went back through his account and found where it is that he actually started posting about politics. Prior to that, he was like a crypto dude. So I'm not even sure what that situation is. I haven't looked into it too far, but I know that she found when he started posting about politics, because before that it was all crypto.
Yeah. Look, I don't begrudge anyone who decides they want to dip their toe into politics.
No.
I think it's fine. I think it's great.
I'm not accusing. I'm not being accused. I'm just asking questions, guys. I don't know, but I know. Like, go Max. Okay.
Yep.
But it is kind of strange to me that you have these people that were like hardcore Trump supporters and doing these things, and then they've like turned into this anti-Israel Groyper type group, and they're all following Candace Owens, and she's like the leader. And how many times, I haven't watched every one of her podcasts. As a matter of fact, I've only watched maybe a handful since all of this Charlie Kirk stuff started. But it seems like every episode I've watched, she mentions her relationship with Kanye West. She mentions all of these things, and it's just the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And
it's
why?
Weird and a little bit gay, like GHEY gay.
Gay, yeah, GHEY gay.
Okay.
Yeah. What is it? She says something in gay.
Weird and gay. I think it's, I don't know.
Fake and gay.
Fake and gay.
Is it fake and gay? Yeah, fake and gay. There you go. Fake and gay.
Fake and gay.
But again, remember, Antifa told you what they were going to do. And Antifa is no different. It is a part of the color revolution in all these foreign countries, the UN, the whole radicalization pipeline. Antifa is a part of this. The Armed Queers
Amen.
SLC, the John Brown Gun Club, the Democrat Socialists of America, all of these groups, including actual the teachers unions, including the SEIU, including all of these organizations, and including mainstream Democrat organizations. You would think that these people and countries and organizations don't have the same end goal, and they don't. They don't have the same end goal. Not all of them want communism. Not all of them want socialism or Marxism or whatever. But you have to understand that the left is so in lockstep. They don't care if their end goal is the same. They know that there is one barrier that they all have to get through to then be able to fight over what they want their end goal to be. And that end goal, that barrier is our elections. It is our Constitution. It is the right being united and working together to get Donald Trump's agenda through. Because if Donald Trump succeeds, these people will not be able to succeed in a color revolution. And that is the only way to stop this. This is the only way. And you have people like Candace Owens and all of the little shills that are simping for her, and all of these bot accounts that make you believe things are real that are not real. And then you have big accounts that are also following. I don't know if it's clout chasing. I don't know if it's that they actually believe these things, because I do believe that even in the UN and even in some of these IMIP organizations, this whole color revolution ecosystem, I do believe that there are people involved that truly believe that what they're doing is what's best for this country, and they don't understand the full scope of the color revolution. I do think that there are people like that, and I do think that there are probably big accounts that truly believe the things that Candace is saying, and are either just like completely cognitively disconnected and ignoring the red flags. Or, I mean, I don't know what the situation is. I don't know if it's for follows and clicks and likes. I don't know. But there are good people that are involved in pushing these things Candace is pushing. But people need to snap out of it. We've got to unite. We have to get together, and we have to get the Congress to work and do what they need to do. And if they aren't doing it, we need to primary them, and we need to replace them with people. And if nobody is running in your district to primary one of these rhinos that are not getting things done, it's your turn. Step up. It's your turn to run.
That's right. No, put picture 4 back up again. SK, perfect segue, because there are good people who are asking honest, legitimate questions, who are following the Candace Owens narrative because they don't believe the Fed slop. We are collectively some of those people who don't believe that Tyler Robinson acted alone. We don't. And we've done the research to prove it. We have done the mapping, at least in our minds, to be able to prove that there are a litany of other people and organizations involved in this. Sorry, throw that back up again real quick. But we also know that there is an effort to infiltrate this particular topic, as I've already shown, to silence and divide the MAGA base. SK found this, and we've showed it over and over and over again, starting back on September 16th. This was found in Antifa. I think this was an Antifa bulletin that they posted, talking about how
it's a blog,
how they anti-fascists must work to find more creative ways to counter this political movement. Remember, the political movement that they were talking about was the country, the entire country, uniting around Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk and the mission. That was the political moment that Antifa said that they had to figure out creative ways to counter.
And then this was shared everywhere, including the Iron Cross Reddit. Go ahead, Nom. My bad.
Yeah. So, I mean, it wasn't just that moment. The other part of what was playing out here, the political moment, was the laser focus on the Transtifa groups that were involved, and that appeared to have pre-advanced knowledge of the assassination, because we went through all of those. I mean, folks like 0 Hour, and a number of other great researchers, they found all of them. That's the political moment that they needed a distraction from. Said, don't look at us, even though we were involved. We're going to go over there and look over there. Right. That's the distraction tactic that they're trying to use.
One possible useful wedge issue, as indicated by Antifa, is the issue in this context is Israel. Conspiracy theorists have already jumped to blame Kirk's assassination on Mossad, claiming the lifelong Zionist was on the verge of becoming J-pilled. Well,
AKA
I think
Candace Owens. That's who
that's
they're
right.
referring to directly. Candace
exactly right.
Owens is the one that gave them this idea. And now all of you guys are falling into it.
That's
It is
exactly right.
ridiculous. Are we getting into the connections to the UK with Candace Owens or any of these things at all today? Or are we waiting for that?
Yeah, I think we're going to wait for that. We may talk about it briefly, but yeah, I think that might be another show. So I started poking around after doing this analysis on comment section using AI and Grok to help me understand sock puppet engagement, the impact it's having on content, all that stuff. We've already shown those receipts, but there was a couple of other larger accounts, specific accounts that I found myself engaging in, accounts that pretty clearly had an agenda. The agenda was to make sure that whatever narrative Candace Owens was spinning was not allowed to be debunked. And we saw this explicitly from at least one particular account, an account by the name of Diligent Denizen, which SK has gone on multiple rants on. Now, I've had some interactions with this account in the past. I actually found him to be somewhat reasonable.
Me too.
We've had some conversations in the past. So it was a little surprising to me to watch the evolution of what's taken place over the last couple of days. And I decided to go back into his timeline and ask a couple questions. Because suddenly this particular account is now a warrior for justice for Charlie Kirk. So I went back in his timeline and I just asked the question, are there any pro Charlie Kirk or pro Turning Point USA content prior to Charlie Kirk being assassinated? Nom, you got picture 5? And here's what I found. The answer is no. Not one. Not one single post or comment that I or Grok was able to identify prior to Charlie Kirk's assassination of him celebrating, talking positively about, or really even talking about it all, except for these. Mocking Charlie Kirk's lack of integrity. You got picture 6. Using very similar language in the next post. What were you lying? Defending Charlie Kirk and daddy government, followed by the feds. Sure you aren't one? Well, SK actually found a few others where he was just as aggressively attacking Charlie Kirk. Now, if you talk to him, he will tell you that this was specific to the Epstein issue. That's fine. You're allowed to have differences of opinion with people based on specific issue. But what was done here was challenging the integrity of a person that you now say you are a warrior for truth to find out who assassinated him. And I ain't freaking buying it.
Did you get the whole? Can we pull up the whole post, not just the screenshot?
I don't think we have the whole
I'll
post,
send
but we
it
can
real
provide.
quick.
Okay.
I'll send it real quick, so we can pull up the whole thread, because I think the whole thread is important, because when I went and looked at the whole thread, it is not good for that guy.
No, it's not good. So we have a history here of, and remember, keep in mind that the framework that I'm working through as I'm going through this analysis is understanding the intentions of Antifa, going back to the 16th when we found that blog post saying that they needed to find creative ways to counter the moment, including using Israel as a wedge. We know that there is clear infiltration happening into this particular topic. Infiltration that we also know is organized from Reddit boards and Discord servers from Antifa and Antifa adjacent accounts, specifically designed to infiltrate the MAGA movement for the purpose of neutering it. And then, shockingly, I got a tip. Did you know we have a tip box? I got a tip.
Do we?
Yes, in Discord. And if you
Oh.
are trying to get to the
Well,
Discord, go
really
to your
any of our
Google.
DMs is a tip box, but I got a
Right.
tip. I got a tip.
Okay. Do you want me
And
to tell them how
so-
to get to Discord or no?
Yes, please do.
Okay. If go to your Google, I don't even know if you have to put www dot first, but put SKDD, like SKDoubleDub, put SKDD dot LOL, like laughing out loud. And that should take you directly to our Discord server. But once you get there, you have to make sure you go to the rules channel and click the green check mark to agree to the rules. So it'll verify you so that you can be able to post and interact. And there is a box that I made called Just the Tips.
So we have a tip box. We have a couple
That's funny.
tip boxes. Feel free
Mhm.
to send me tips to my DMs or whatever as well. And that's what happened. So somebody who had watched a recent podcast of ours where we were talking about the color revolution and had seen some of the interactions that I was having with Diligent on my post. And they sent me some information. So first of all, I want to say this. I know that Diligent has come under some pretty understandable attacks from some people and has been accused of doing things that he clearly didn't do. I know that, and I acknowledge that. And that is not the accusation that we're going to be making today. But what I also know is that when I saw this information, I reached out to to Diligent myself, and I asked a question, 2 questions actually. The first question I asked is, are you now, or have you ever had any type of association with people who are associated with Antifa or Antifa adjacent organizations? And for whatever reason, he didn't want to answer. It took him almost a day to get back to me, which is really weird considering the amount of time he requires people like Cabot Phillips respond to his demands for information, but he didn't want to answer me. So then I bumped it back up to him again, and I asked him a second question. Can you help me understand the evolution of you going from challenging the integrity of Charlie Kirk back in July to becoming a warrior for justice for Charlie Kirk in September? That got him to respond, but he didn't want to answer my question. He didn't want to address the question that I originally had, which is, are you now, or have you ever been associated with Antifa or Antifa adjacent organizations? He didn't want to answer it. So instead, what he did is he asked me if I'm being paid by third parties to post on X or any other platforms. And the answer is no. The answer is I'm being paid the same way that everyone else who posts on X or TikTok gets paid. That's the answer. That was the answer I gave him. He didn't like it. He continued to try to sidestep my question. And then eventually he responded and he said that he is not aware of any associations that he has of people who are associated with Antifa, which is really weird because the information that landed in my tip box says very different.
Do we have to show those pictures?
We have to show this picture.
They're very weird.
They're very weird.
I don't understand what these people are doing.
Well, if you understand who Lance Twigg and Tyler Robinson are, and the perverted things that they were involved in with furry culture, believing they were animals and having fetishes around pretending to be animals, this might make a little bit more sense. Now, I'm not the first one. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you have children watching, cover their eyes for, I don't know, the next 5-10 minutes. These are weird.
And
if
I want
you
to be
have
very
children
clear.
watching, I'm sorry for my language. My mom's going to be pissed.
I want to be very clear. The photographs that I'm getting ready to show you are not, and I am not in any way alleging that he is involved in furry culture. What I am alleging is that he's friends with people who are. Show us picture 7. Actually, not yet. Oh, you already did. Okay, so a little bit of background. Diligent loves to find himself in controversy. And there have been people that have been deeply researching this account for quite a while. And back in February, there was a whole host of people who did some deep dives. But it's not just him. There was one account in particular, a pretty large account actually. I think it's called Rawls Alerts right now, but it used to be called Rawls Media. What you're going to find is a couple of photographs, and I'm sparing you guys the details because I don't think it's terribly relevant to this story. A couple of photographs that were exposed of the person behind Raw Alerts, or what used to be Raw Media. And at first, when I started looking through these threads, it didn't really make sense. I'm like, what does this have to do with one of the people who are pretending to be a warrior for justice for Candace Owens? And then I started to see the association. So what Nom is going to throw up right now is a photograph of a person named Hunter, who is allegedly the face behind the Raw Alerts accounts. Now, I will say that I have seen the conversations between Raw Alerts and other people asking to verify if in fact that this is him, and it appears as though it is. Are you going to put up pic 7? It appears as though it is. Here's pic 8. This is Raw Alerts dressed in his camouflage with a cake, and then him sitting with his mask on with the exact same cake.
I have questions about this. How is this gentleman wearing camouflage with shoulders like that? This person has never done a single push-up. Is this also stolen valor?
I want to know if that guy's ever eaten a bite of cake in his life, because
Yeah, I have very significant questions about this.
I mean, does he eat meat? Oh, that's probably not a great question.
But you see, here's the thing. I'll show pic 9 just so we can verify real quick that he is in fact, Raw Alerts has in fact confirmed that those photographs are him. Here's a picture of a DM where he says, someone is saying it's really bad look that you're involved with all these accounts and have these fetishes of baby diapers, etc. And says, yeah, I understand that. Definitely understand that now. Acknowledge that it's him, which is fine. Look, if you want to have fetishes, that's on you. I don't care. I don't care if you even are friends with people that have fetishes like that. It's not my business. But the libertarian spirit in me could care less. I couldn't care less. And initially, SK what?
It's could not care less.
I couldn't care less. I couldn't, but could not care less.
I agree. No fetish shaming here, but also baby diapers. What?
Yeah. I don't care. I don't care. Do whatever you want. It's your bedroom. It's your thing. Whatever gets you going, that's up to you. That's fine. And initially, I wrote this off and was like, this doesn't matter to me. It's not relevant. And even when I started to see the links between Hunter and Diligent, it still didn't matter to me, because there are posts. Can you put up picture 10? Are you muted, Nom? Yep.
Yeah, he's muted. I also sent, not only in our text chat, but also in here, I sent the link to that Charlie Kirk post, because that's important to go through for the Diligent denizen.
That's right. So here's a post from Diligent with the Raw Alerts guy. Whatever they're doing, I don't really care. They can hang out together. That's fine. Doesn't matter to me at all. And here's another post, picture 11, of Rawls Alert referring to Diligent as his good a friend. Today was an absolutely amazing day with good friend Diligent, and I were out at Starbase. That sounds like a lot of fun. If you want to go out with people that like to put doggy masks on, that's up to you. I don't really care. Where I do start to really question one's motives in the work that they're doing to divide the MAGA base is because, and this is why I asked the question, Diligent, I was very intentional in the way I asked my question. Are you now, or have you ever been associated with people who are aligned with Antifa or Antifa adjacent people or organizations? And your answer was, not that I know of. That is a good friend of yours, allegedly, according
Friend.
to good friend.
Friend.
Good friend.
Just asking questions.
Good friend.
We don't know, but we know.
Good friend.
Go Max.
I would not have asked that question had I not already known the answer to it. Did you know that there's actually a long history of the person behind the raw alerts count, behind Antifa lines as a journalist? Did you know that? Did you know that? Diligent, did you know that the person that is referring to you as their good friend is an Antifa journalist? Because here's the thing, you don't get to video record Antifa behind their lines unless they know who you are and approve of the journalism that you're going to do. Ask Andy No how that works. Ask any number of journalists who've attempted to document BLM and Antifa riots, and they were not specifically approved by Antifa to be there. The last group of people that did that got attacked in Portland, Oregon, where police officers stood by and did nothing. Ask Nick Sorter how that goes. You don't get to be a journalist documenting Antifa and BLM unless they approve of you to be there, which means you are in fact associated at least adjacently with Antifa or Antifa organizations. And here's the problem. I have it on video. Nom, can you play video 2? And I want you to listen very closely. Listen to what the Antifa medics are saying as they are responding to raw alerts media needing medical assistance. Listen closely.
Raw's media is one of our journalists. Where'd they hit you? Where'd they hit you? Right there. Okay. Get a medic. We got medics here. We got medics there. They have press. That's Raw's media, man. You all right?
Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
We got a medical situation here.
Nom, can you play that again? I want you to listen to the very beginning of this message. Listen.
Raw's media is one of our journalists. Where'd they hit you?
Pause.
Right there.
Raw's media is one of our journalists.
One of our journalists. Wow. PatriotDad, you're so good at this. Hey, Diligent Denizen, remember when he told you he was better at this than you know, and he was definitely better than you? Look, here we go. Uh-oh.
And then it all came to a head last night. You see,
And
because
I'm tired and spicy because of it.
I'm spicy.
I stayed up. I stayed
it
up.
all came to a head last night. And because I'm a little bit spicy, I'm going to show it to you. I was up until 4 o'clock in the morning last night collecting information. You see, because I know how these people think. I've been doing this a very long time. I understand what it takes to get the Antifa people to respond the way that I expect for them to respond. It's not hard because they are creatures of habit and they are angry and filled with hate. So last night, I made one post. Older millennial posted something about Diligent. I reposted it just to see what would happen. And here's what happened. Immediately, Diligent jumped into my comment section and said, your best buddy, Team FU Joe, created a Give, Send, Go in Kirk's name 2 days after the assassination and made thousands off of it. Are you being paid to attack me? Serious question. The inference here is that I am somehow associated with Older Millennial and the Give, Send, Go that was created. Which is weird because my name is nowhere on that Give, Send, Go. Anywhere. And go ahead.
And it's important to add that that wouldn't have been a big deal. Just insinuating that one time and then them having a back and forth wouldn't have been a big deal had all the little simps that follow the dude looked at that and not able to read and comprehend, then going and reposting and commenting, accusing PatriotDad of being involved in this Gibson Go, which, by the way, like I said, I thought about it and I kind of remember this Gibson Go because I kind of thought, this is a little iffy. I don't know that I would have done that at that time, but he was doing it to start a campus tour of his own because at that point in time, they didn't know. And remember, older millennial goes to the Turning Point USA things. He's been a part of Turning Point USA for a long time. And I don't know what happened with the money. I'm not accusing. I'm not accusing. I'm not agreeing. I'm not disagreeing. I don't know. But the way that they are making that Gibson Go out to be, I don't truly believe is what it was. He was trying to start a campus tour, right?
I think so. But it's irrelevant as far as I'm concerned, because Diligent knew that I had nothing to do with that. My name is nowhere on that Gibson Go whatsoever, but that was not the point. The point was to create the impression that I somehow was trying to defraud people using Turning Point USA to do it.
That's like the second fraud allegation against you in like 3 days.
Yeah, by these sock puppets and these infiltrator accounts. And here was the purpose. Show picture 23. So even though my name is nowhere on there, this is the perspective that the sock puppet accounts started dropping into my comments. He found out he was collecting money under Charles' name, and as soon as he did, Patriot shut it down. Why, if he's innocent? I didn't shut anything down. It's not my Gibson Go. I have nothing to do with that Gibson Go. And Diligent knew it at the time that he posted that. Otherwise, he would not have said, your friend, older millennial, posted this. And yet he dropped it into my comments for a purpose, which is really strange because this seems to be a pattern in the way that these creators engage with people that they don't want to challenge their perspective. They shift and they accuse.
And his little friend that was going at both of us and then reposting things on his X account, I said, I will bet you $10,000 that PatriotDad had nothing to do with that Gibson Go. I haven't heard a word from that guy. I don't know if I'm blocked or what, but I even offered $10,000 for him to show that that was true. These people still believe this. They are still repeating this stuff that PatriotDad's involved in a Gibson Go trying to raise money in Charlotte's name.
The point, and he knows it, but it didn't stop there because you see, he decided that since I was questioning him, he was going to investigate me. And he started pulling up a bunch of fake clone accounts all over that exist all over social media. There's probably hundreds of them because people steal my content and they do it all the time. They do it literally all the time. And they apparently found a fake account that was created, has 48 followers, based out of South America. Can you show video 3? This is a video that was posted from one of his followers. You see that? That looks like a PatriotDad account. Well, that's weird. That's over in South America. That's really strange. That's odd. That's in South America. All right, that's good.
I mean, at least they use some good music.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so here's the deal, folks. Any of you guys who have spent any amount of time online, you know that effective content creators are constant victims of impersonation. There are hundreds of PatriotDad clone accounts all over the place, hundreds of them. It's pretty easy to tell what's real and what's not real because they have to make small minor adjustments to the @ symbols to make sure that it can get by the filters and allow it to be created, but there's hundreds of them. And that is obviously one of them. The problem is he then posted this. Throw up picture 25.
I don't have it. I have to get it. It's coming.
I'm going to pull up picture 25.
In the meantime, make sure you X out of the live chat. If you're on YouTube, I don't know how it works on Rumble. I don't know how to use it, but X out of the live chat on YouTube.
No, not that
Go
one,
hit that thumbs up button.
That's 25.
Subscribe.
Yeah, sorry, 24. 24. 24.
Do
Try
it.
that.
Do it.
Can we get 24? There it is. So this is one of the next posts that he throws out there, because again, remember, I'm dropping little crumbs about Antifa and Antifa associated, and I'm collecting information. So this is what Diligent posted. This PatriotDad 77 account attacking me for my Charlie Kirk investigation coverage isn't even American. First of all, bro, I'm not attacking you for your Charlie Kirk investigations. I'm attacking you because of your entire lack of credibility and integrity. Did you notice that they found a fake clone account based out of South America and then decided to question whether I'm even American?
Hold on a second. Because what he found was a fake Facebook account. That's not even an X account. That's not even an X account.
Yeah,
that's a Facebook account.
I don't even have an active Facebook PatriotDad account, and I haven't for quite a while.
How is that account from Facebook supposedly attacking him on X? This is how stupid these people really are.
The point he's trying to make is that the point he's trying to make is I think he started to catch wind of the fact that we were going to be talking about sock puppets today, and he was trying to allege that I am in fact a sock puppet.
Well, I know, but he's using a fake Facebook account. It's not even an X account.
That's not the problem, though. The problem, folks. Sorry, go ahead, SK.
If he would have just clicked on Patriot Source podcast account, which is tagged in all of this stuff, the pinned post is literally Patriot Dad's house burning to the ground.
He didn't even need to do that because he knows that I live in Ohio. Do you know how he knows?
Now I remember.
Do you know how he knows?
Yes.
Because back in March of 2025, I got the idea of creating a Tesla Shield counter protest in Columbus, Ohio, held at the Tesla dealership at Easton Town Center. And this is a DM that Diligent sent me saying that he was on his way to my counter protest. I'm on my way to cover your counter protest. We'll be there around 4:20.
Yes. Remember, we put this all together. I was doing all the research on the protest, and you came up with this idea. We made the graphics. We spread it all over X. He was reaching out to me too because I used to follow the guy.
He knew
used to have good information.
He knew. Look, folks, the picture that I'm creating for you is that you have somebody who is apparently investigating Charlie Kirk's assassination, who has absolutely no history of being pro-Charlie Kirk or pro-TPUSA whatsoever. And in fact, all of the commentary he's ever done on it that I was able to find, that Grok was able to produce, was negative. And in fact, challenging his integrity. Somebody who has very clear associations, at least in the past, with people who are at least adjacently connected to Antifa or Antifa organizations. We've proved it. And then last night, he decided, because he got really nervous and had a crash out moment, that he would come into my comments and do exactly what I expected him to do, which was to lie and misdirect and accuse and try to destroy somebody for questioning his perspective. Diligent knew when he posted both of those posts that I had nothing to do with the turning point, with the give, send, go that older millennials set up. And he explicitly knew that I live in Ohio because he DM'd me back in March saying he was on his way to my protest in Columbus, Ohio. Diligent, this is your verbal warning, your verbal cease and desist right here. You will cease and desist intentionally lying and defaming me or this podcast, or you will be hearing from my attorney. Do you understand? I will sue the ever-living shit out of you. What you did last night on my content was an intentional effort to try to harm my reputation because I was asking questions about your integrity. I showed the receipts. You know you lied when you posted that stuff about me not being an American, and that was designed to challenge my reputation and to harm this podcast. That is not only reputational damage, it is also potentially financial damage. So there are damages. You have 24 hours to issue an apology for the content that you created last night accusing me of being associated or at least allowing the accusation that I was associated with that give, send, go, and for lying about my nationality because you knew it at the time that you posted that.
And
you have
then
24 hours.
And then being a coward and
And
blocking
blocking me this
every
morning.
single one of us. Before we go, and I know Nom needs to go. Nom, if you have to drop off, you can drop off. But before we end this today, we have to pull up that thread so people can see what took place in July, shortly before, on July 14th, I do believe. Shortly before Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and the conversation that took place between Charlie Kirk and Diligent.
There is
I got it.
There is so much more. There's so much
Antonym
more
for
to go through
diligent
here.
because he's not diligent at all.
Nom, if you need to bounce, I can take over controls.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I do
Nom's
need
going
to
to
go.
have to go. SK and I are going to keep going because I think it's important, folks. I think it's important that everybody understand what these sock puppet accounts look like, how they're moving, and the impact that they're trying to have. You have to understand this. So as we shift gears a little bit, I want to help you understand what to look for. So there's a couple of things. First, you can look for accounts. Okay, he's gone. I'm going to take this off. Let me give me a second. SK, can you just like rant on something for a second? I'm going to
Yes, I can. But
right.
also I'm looking at the comments on YouTube. I'm trying to get better at that, but I suck at multitasking and then I have no idea what's going on up here while I'm looking at the comments. But I think it's important. Somebody asked, did he actually go to the protest? He did
Yes.
post video last night.
did.
Yes, he did go to the protest. And also PatriotDad did. I posted the link of PatriotDad. He said, you know, if that was really you and you were doing that, why weren't you there? Why didn't I see you? I was with blah, blah, blah. Well, PatriotDad apparently was with the same
He knew
account.
I was there.
Yeah,
He knew I was
but
there.
also it took me 2 seconds to click on PatriotDad's account and put in Tesla Shield, and the post, it was just a couple posts down with the video of PatriotDad at the Tesla Shield protest. Diligent, not diligent, whatever his second part of his name is, didn't even take the time to go to PatriotDad's account and see, hey, did this guy post receipts? Because if I'm going to accuse him, I don't want to be embarrassed here. No. What happened is he got drug all over the internet for being a shitty investigator. And this is the guy that's exposing the Charlie Kirk assassination and doing the investigation into this. The dude can't even figure out a fake Facebook account, thinks PatriotDad's in Brazil, and doesn't even know that he met PatriotDad at the Tesla Shield.
He didn't. We didn't meet.
Well, I mean,
but
not
here,
met like it face to face. But
yeah, here's
went
the
to
thing, though. SK, it's worse than that because it's not a matter of just shoddy investigation. He intentionally lied.
That's true.
Which
and then
to
they went
me,
after me.
Which to me questions the integrity of anything else that he says when he's investigating Charlie Kirk. It questions the integrity of his attempts to try to get someone like Cabot Phillips to provide more and more and more and more information while accusing, or at least his audience, accusing Cabot Phillips of having an affair with Erica Kirk the night before that for a Wahuka meeting, while Cabot Phillips was at an ultrasound
For his baby.
for his unborn baby.
And going to the store to purchase balloons for a gender reveal for his other children. It's sick. It's disgusting.
It's disgusting, but it's intentional. And that's the point. That is the point. This is the creative options that Antifa was talking about on that blog post that SK pulled up from September 16th. This is creatively how they were trying to divide the MAGA movement. So I decided to go in and actually look at a couple of these sock accounts so you can understand what to look for. This first one here is one that commented on a bunch of different things. It's an account that goes by the name of Christina Barlow, and there's some pretty clear indicators here. Account was opened October 25th, has 8 followers. Pretty obvious that that is somebody. Notice there's no photo, there's no nothing. This is an account who is actively engaging in trying to silence or at least critically commenting in the comments of Evan Kilgore and Paramount Tactical and my video. It's obviously a sock account. I'm going to pull up another one. I'm going to keep going through this here real quick, just so you can see the progression of these. So what is this? Here's another one. You're going to see a lot of these. For some reason, these sock accounts seem to be gravitating towards this mantra of being America first, because they know that America first resonates with the MAGA movement. So a lot of these accounts are now starting to put AF in their bios. That's what they're using, America first. And almost all of them have like scriptures in there. They talk about being a Christian. They talk about being Bible believing. That's what they think resonates with MAGA, because it does. So that's the narrative that they're using. So then we have accounts that look like this one. Oh, hold on. This is an account that is prolifically commenting on everybody's content that is questioning the narrative. This account goes by Karen. The name is Meg. Was created in April of 2025.
Karen.
93 followers. An obvious sock puppet account. Now, on this account, I actually decided to go out and do a little bit more digging, because that picture didn't seem like somebody who was saying the things that were coming out of that account, because the words that were being typed from that account were vicious. They were dripping with Antifa related type of rhetoric, dripping with it. So I went and did a little bit of a deeper dive into this image. And you notice that there's some, like, I don't know, weirdness, blurriness, strangeness to this photo. To me, this looks like this has been enhanced somehow. Maybe AI, whatever, I don't know. So then I decided to go out and do a reverse image search. And here is what I found. This sock puppet account, and you're going to see this a lot. And by the way, folks, this is the type of research you have to do when you're engaging with somebody that you feel is not being truthful about who they are. That picture actually belongs to this person.
Wow.
That picture belongs to this person. This person is actually associated with a Facebook page called LL Jewels. It is a business. That is a promotional photo that this sock puppet account decided to steal for the purposes of engaging in Candace Owens conspiracy theories to negatively try to impact content creators who are challenging or questioning her perspective. And you know how you can tell? Well, this isn't that hard. You can put them side by side and you can see exact same earrings, exact same, mostly the same eyes, exact same necklace.
Wow.
You've even got on the top right, you've even got the exact same window and lighting in the background.
Wow. That's crazy.
Karen is actually likely someone associated with Antifa or Trans-Tifa. Likely. I can't prove it because I don't have the ability to figure out who actually is behind that account, but I know some people do.
Well, and here's the thing. If these people want these accounts following them and boosting them and doing these things and taking their narrative and spreading it, because the followers of that dude last night were clicking on my account and screenshotting the fact that I use a VPN and trying to accuse me of being a foreign account. My response was, of course I use a VPN. Number one, that's another thing that people like older millennial told me when I first got on TikTok last year. I was given great advice, and I'm grateful for all of that because I had no idea how any of this works. But I said to them, of course I use a VPN because you guys are crazy.
That's right. That's right. All right, I got a couple more photos and we're going to wrap up here. I want to
do the thread.
Okay, we'll pull. Did you drop that in the Dropbox?
It's in the chat and it's in the text thread on our
Okay.
text.
I'll have to get that loaded up here in just a second. I want to keep going because I have a few more examples of what to look for when you're trying to understand whether you're actually talking to somebody who is sincerely questioning or commenting, or if you're dealing with a sock puppet account. So this next one, actually, I don't even know what this next one is. Let's pull it up and look. Okay. This next account is a person by the name of Mitchell Cohen. Just started. This was actually started back in 2023 with 21 followers. And what's really interesting about these sock puppet accounts, because you remember, one person can and often does control hundreds of these accounts. And many times they will open them and they will lay dormant until they feel like they need to activate them. so that they can use them in whatever campaign that they're engaged in. This one was actually created back in 2023. So I decided to engage with this one just a little bit, just to kind of figure out, like, what am I going to hear from this person? What is this person going to talk about? What are they going to go on and on about? And here's what I got. I got the exact same type of language that you would expect to hear from somebody who's part or at least associated with Antifa. This is what you would expect to get. Antifa is a myth. That's what they say. As soon as you mention Antifa, they immediately start to shift and say, no, 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 it's decentralized. There's no such thing as Antifa. This is the exact language they use when Antifa is trying to get you to believe that there's no such thing as Antifa.
And these are supposed to be MAGA people that have just turned on Trump. And this is so, you guys, this is a huge, basically psyop. I hate using that word, but this is a huge coordinated effort to make you believe something that is not real is real. They're making you believe that there's all these thousands and thousands and thousands of Trump supporters that have turned on him over things like the Epstein files, Israel, the Charlie Kirk investigation, all of these things that are being pushed that are dividing MAGA. These are the accounts that are doing it. There are some big creators that start it. Why they have, I don't know. Some of them genuinely may feel that way. Others may be paid. Others may be buying into a narrative. I don't know. But these accounts are what is elevating that and commenting and engaging and giving them the attention that pushes their content in front of your face to make you believe it's real life.
It's people like this. It's people who comment things like this. This is who is driving the effort to silence people who are questioning the distractionary narrative coming out of Candyland Cultville. That's it. That's who they are. These are the people who were dancing in the streets when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And now it appears as though they are actively engaged in an effort to systematically destroy Turning Point USA and the MAGA movement. And based on the deep level of research that we've done, we think we know why. Now, we're not going to spend much time. We're not going to spend any more. We're going to wrap this up because we're gone way over. But over the next couple of weeks and months, what this podcast is going to do is we are actually going to spend a significant amount of time helping you to understand who each of the biggest, most important networks or organizations in the Color Revolution network are. Because I think one thing that we're struggling with, and we've been struggling with this for a while, is how do we get people to understand the full scope of the Color Revolution? And because it is so massive, it's almost impossible to wrap your head around it. Even, I mean, SK and I and Nom, we talk about this stuff all the time, and I still don't understand it because it's so big. It's so large and so well funded that when she talks about these different organizations, and I know I've heard them before, but I don't know exactly how they fit in. So we're going to do that. We're not going to draw you a giant map. Instead, we're going to pick an organization and we're going to do a topic on it. We're going to pick another organization. We're going to do another hour on it. We're going to pick another organization and we're going to do an hour on it. We're going to do hour after hour after hour after hour after hour, showing you who these organizations are. And then maybe throughout that, we can help to construct a map along the way to put the pieces of the puzzle together. This is the reason why the Candace Owens, Candyland cult narrative is being pushed. It's to keep you from understanding that the people who are actually involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination are global, or people who are influenced by foreign intelligence. It's a global network. It is a massive organization of people. It is a conspiracy, but it's a conspiracy to transition the United States into a communist crap hole. That's the bottom line. And now we're going to show you how it's done. SK, you got anything else to add before we wrap? You're muted. What are you doing over there, SK? I can't help you unmute, SK. What's going on? I don't know what SK is doing. She says, hold on. All right, we're holding on. Hold on. What's going on? Are you having a problem, SK? No, she's in the middle of something. I can't keep holding on, SK. All right. Apparently I need to hold on. Can you at least unmute and talk to us while you're asking me to
Okay,
hold
yeah,
on?
I had to get to the mute button because
Oh.
I hooked this mouse up and it like zoomed in, but I was trying to do the screen share thing to show you a picture of the network. And I messed
Oh,
it
here it
all
is.
up. Did I put it up there?
Yeah. Is
I
it?
did it.
You did.
Except now I can't see anything except the mute button and the camera at the bottom because it's zoomed in and I don't know how to zoom out.
All right, let's do this. Let's wrap. We can come back on Monday and we can start the process of kind of mapping this out and building this constructed network for people, organization by organization, as we go through. This is going to take a long time, guys. We're going to be doing this for the next couple of months to help you understand what is actually happening in this country. All right, folks, I hope you got something out of this. I hope that there was some value in this episode. For me, this was a really important one because it demonstrates just how organized the left actually is and the work that they're doing to try to silence the American people, to try to stop the Trump agenda, and ultimately to try to neuter the MAGA base.
Yep.
That's
and
what
we
they're doing.
will be talking about all this. And I don't know if that's on the screen because I can't see anything.
Yeah. All right,
But I
guys, we're
got
not
it
even
up
gonna
there somehow.
we're not even gonna do video exit. We're just gonna go.
Oh, don't forget about the podcast tonight.
Yeah, I will post details over on all of the platforms on the podcast tonight. We are going to be going live with Paramount Tactical at 8 p.m. as of right now. I'll get the details on where and how you can watch that, but we plan to cover a lot of this information and probably do a more high-level overview of the color revolution for his audience so that they understand exactly what's happening in this country, so that we can start shifting away from the hysteria and the fantasy that's being created by these sock puppet accounts, by these insincere, lack of integrity content creators who seem to be intentionally trying to shift you away from the focus of the things that we should be looking at. So we're going to help hopefully be able to use multiple platforms to do it.
And thank you to all the new viewers today and everyone that was here for the first time. We love you
Right.
guys. Welcome to the Patriot family. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you go hit that thumbs up button after the thing is over and you're out of the live chat. And also share this link everywhere you possibly can, whether you're on Rumble, YouTube, X, wherever. We hate self-promotion. We're not doing it for that purpose, but we want this information to get out. And the only way it gets out is if you guys share it and interact and help that algorithm.
That's right. All right, folks, we're out.